All right, joining us now, friend of the show, fellow Chicagoan,
Yo,
the the man behind the new EP, Kenya, Ajani Jones. How are you, sir? Good evening.
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great, man. You sound
Awesome.
great. It's a beautiful
Thanks
thing
for
when
having me
that
again.
works. Thanks for joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's, man, on election night. It's a big night for the country, but also
Swear.
it's been a big year for you. Kenya, the EP that dropped, was it in September or late August? Remind me again. I know it was not that long ago.
Yeah, September. September.
Right. So it came out 5-track EP, self-released, and it's so the title comes from the name of your mother. And there's a lot to unpack on the record, which is why I absolutely love it. I think it's like 16 minutes, but there's like so much information you can get in that 16 minutes. So it's absolutely well done. So I just want to congratulate you on a job well done with the EP. I want to start there with the title. Did you know like what made you this record is titled after your mother, but there's an underlying theme about the women in your life, and that does not get lost on me at all. So what made you feel like this was the and then you've always been open in your records and expressing yourself, and that's one of the great things I love about you. But what made you feel like this was the time to kind of open and give the listener some additional details about your upbringing and also the relationship you have with your mother and the other women in your life?
Yeah. So just to kind of give you a little bit of context, I grew up mostly in a women household, all women, my whole life for the most part. Grew up with my grandmother. It was me, my grandmother, uh, my mother, and my two baby sisters for the longest. So just around that feminine energy, it kept me warm. It kept me safe. Um, and I had my dad around, but I was around them dominantly, and so
Mm,
uh, they just kind of they gave me a lot to they gave me a lot to actually they sheltered me, I would say. And so within that though, it just created this deep love for them, especially black women, because just knowing what I came to know later, like they endure so much. And so I wanted to bring that forth in this record, especially it being named after my mother. I wanted people to understand what she did for me.
right. And so you were a single child for a while before you kind of talk about that the near end. We'll get into that just in a moment. But it was just you and your mom for a while,
Yeah,
right?
about 6 years. Yeah,
And so you talk about like kind of her struggle and then your growth from being sort of watching her go through her struggles and then you developing into the artist that you are. What One of the things that I wanted to ask you was like what strength do you pride yourself in and seeing her exhibit? Like what is it about her that makes her strong?
that makes her strong.
Yeah.
Well, I said this in one of the things that like I feel like made her strong. Firstly, she went to the army. She joined the army at an early age.
Mm,
Yeah, I said that in 1994. Like she was in the army, and she like was super tough. Like, and she also had an older brother who always looked out for us, just them two. And she grew up in the streets of Chicago where she had to be tough. There was nobody was coddling her. You know, my grandmother, her mother was working all the time, so she had to fend for herself all the time.
right.
She had to grow up fast, and that just created a toughness within her that a lot of women in Chicago do have and exhibit, just because of the circumstances that they go through.
Yeah. And I also love the production on this as well. It has a great vibe to it, and it also kind of just being that you were born in 1994, which was a great year for hip hop, and
Yeah.
also makes me feel incredibly old, by the way. But I was like, this guy was born like the year of like Bone Thugs and Biggie.
Oh,
I was like a
it was a great year
teenager.
for everything, bro.
Oh,
Movies, entertainment, like the Bulls. Yeah, it's crazy.
94 is a fantastic year. My son makes fun of me because I play all these records from 94, 93, 95, and he's like, why are you playing that old stuff for? Like, because it's amazing.
Amazing.
So, like,
I'm gonna
he
make sure
doesn't
my
know.
kids know about it. That's for sure.
So this is the thing that I did with him. We would be in the car, and of course, I have control over the music and what we're listening to. And I would just like something that was old, so I'd play a lot of Big Pun, and he's like, why are you listening to this? I'm like, this is new. What are you talking about? Like, this just can't, like, he has no sense of time or anything comes out. Like, I was like, this is new, and it's like 20 years old.
Of course.
What's new? So just a tip for all you parents out there, whenever they're like, why are you listening to this old stuff? Like, nah, this is that new.
No.
Yeah. The other thing as well is like you opened up about kind of like the like being in a relationship and like what what it means to you as well. Often I think that they'll like often you kind of hear that, you know, like a woman recognizes what a man should be from what they see exhibited by their father, right? So what is it about a woman that you look for that you mentioned, like that strength of having to be strong? Is that something that you also kind of like look for in a partner, in a mate? Like they don't have to have all the traits of your mom, but they have to be somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say they have to have that drive and will to persevere. Like a lot of people that I've seen in life, they kind of just let things happen to them, and I don't want someone like that. I want somebody that's gonna be like, all right, well, we're gonna figure it out. Like, I like optimism also. Like, we can all be very cynical about things, but I like you to be optimistic about your situation, because I'm a firm believer in manifestation, as is in all my music, and I want the person I be with to have that power. That manifestation is a really important power that we all hold within our spirit, and that's something we all should be practicing. So,
absolutely.
So yeah, for sure.
What about the Lula? Is that your sister's name?
Yeah. Her name's Alexia. I gave her the nickname Lula when she was a baby. So
yeah. And you kind of you talk about like sort of being a big brother and watching her, you know, and seeing her growth and her spirit and her vibe. You know, that's something that you just enjoy to be present around. I mean, I'm really not that close to my siblings, so I really envy you. Well, when you're the youngest, you don't always, you know, you're more of a nuance than, you know, someone that people want to be around. Like you're the youngest, you're not cool. You're just like you're forced to be with them because your parents tell them to watch you and all that stuff. So it wasn't always the coolest. I mean, now it's okay, but you know, when you're growing up, it's not always great.
I understand. I got a little brother now that's like 12, and he is going through that now. Like when I was growing up, I never wanted to play with him because he was so young, and I was like, so I get you.
Yeah. I want to also talk about this a little bit on the song "Kids." You kind of you go into like sort of your musical journey, and you mentioned like 2012, and that was like the year of like drill and like Chief Keef, and like the city itself was just exploding during the blog era. And I think I can't wait for someone to really dive into the blog era. There's so much to unpack there because it's across the entire country. There's so many names that came out from that time period, but you were part of that as well. So how do you feel like looking back and reflecting? And I know you're so young, but like you're to reflect back on like 8-9 years ago when you were getting into the scene and being around a lot of these people, and now emerging as this very prominent voice for the Chicago scene. How do you reflect on that?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I would say I was like on the outside looking in during that time. Like I was just looking up to a lot of people. I was in college. I was a freshman at Iowa at that time. So I was in my dorm room listening to Acid Rap and Internet Tape by Vic Mensa, and you know The Waters had dropped a year later with Mick. So I was closely following that scene and hoping to, you know, get involved with them during that time period. So I had just moved away, and the city is booming, crazy. And I'm just like, oh, wow, I have to get back. So about a year and a half later, I was back, and I was able to immediately jump in through just my Columbia connections and find my team. I found my team at Columbia, thank God. Met Alex Frichter that way, you know, so.
Yeah, shout out to Columbia.
Yeah, shout out to Columbia for real. It's not, I would definitely say it's, you know, it's worth it for the connections, but I don't know, that 30,000 a little steep, you know.
They ain't never getting that money from me. I already told them. I was like, you ain't getting this money.
I'm in that process right now, bro.
When the quarantine hit, they were like, I was like, I could pay my mortgage or pay you. It's like this is a no brainer. I like do what you need to do. And they're like, well, we could just do a forbearance or something. I was like, whatever you need to do. It's like you're not gonna shake out nickels from my pockets.
Yeah,
That's all you
the
do.
nickels you'll get,
Like,
if anything,
yeah, like so it's a running tab right now. But no, I agree. I agree 1,000%. There's I agree that the networking is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
But a lot of other things I have my own thoughts about. We can share that at
No,
another
yeah,
time.
we definitely gotta talk about it. 'Cause it really gets to like that whole thing is just the my first semester being there, I was a little bit put off by it, but by my second semester figuring out how to maneuver Columbia is when you kind of you figure it out. A lot of people leave early because they don't figure that out, but they also don't get told to they don't get that help as much. But
Yeah. I mean, the best part about I was there from fall 08 to spring 2010. And so the great part about it was, when I was studying radio and communications, and then when I got my show on CRX, was that that was the perfect time to just coming out, or they were bubbling already. I think Fish on Bicycles had just come out, and like Ad 2 and like all these great Psalm 1 was kind of just like starting to put out her own mixtape and reinvent herself. It was just such a great time for like independent artists in Chicago, and be able to be around that and like spotlight these artists that are some of them I'm still friends with, and I can count on them for about anything. So it's like, yeah, you're right that in some respect it was like to be part of that moment is $30,000 isn't a lot of money, because it's like these are these lifetime relationships I feel I have.
Exactly.
And you can't put a price on that, so. But yeah, it was. I just felt like I was just at the right point at the right time to spotlight that music and talk about it, and I'm super grateful for that, because it's like I can't. It's hard to explain to people who weren't there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it was like a huge movement. It's like for so long Chicago was just ignored. It was, and then it felt like everybody was so dope, and it wasn't like over exaggeration. It was like everyone was dope,
everybody
unique, and that was great. So
and I feel like we still kind of have that vibe, with quarantine. Quarantine has kind of put a lot of people in the shadows. That's why like people like you that like still want to like put the spotlight on us and give us platforms to be seen by others is so important at this time, because their physical scene anymore at the moment. There isn't a place where there's a hub where people can come together and show their talent, or just network. So this is very important for us to move forward and keep building.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm the show is freshly new. The paint isn't even dry on the walls.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to like pick up these conversations that I was doing at Loyola, and to do them here, and because I think that's the. And I when I was talking last week about this, when with like the Griselda team, they put out 3 albums in less than a month. Great solo albums that otherwise you can hit the road and tour off this stuff. Exactly. And unfortunately, you got like for you could put a great project out, but it's like you can't perform it and like pick up more listeners that way, or sell it directly to the consumer. So that market is gone for the moment. So it really diminishes your guys' opportunity to spread the word or let a project really take flight, because it's like put it online. If it catches some stream, great, but if it doesn't, then it's like there's 100 other albums that are waiting to just trump your stuff.
Exactly.
And that sucks. I feel so awful for you guys, because unfortunately that's the way that the music the business is designed. It's like, what's the next thing? Like, so, but I'm glad your project is super enjoyable to listen to, that I keep returning to it for like a lot of different just understanding, and I love the messaging as well. So it just, and I mentioned this to you in a private message. I just love the way that you smile through the microphone, because I can feel the emotion and the excitement, and which is a rarity that a lot of artists haven't mastered or don't even attempt to do.
Wow. That's well said, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I
uh,
appreciate you having me.
no, I'm not done.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's a song called Z. What's the city of Z?
All right, so have you ever seen the movie?
I have not seen it. No.
So the Lost City of Z is like a movie. I guess it's based on a real story about this. I believe he is either Spanish or English. Let's just say he's a European. And he travels. He's looking. He hears rumors about this lost city. They call it Z, and it's a city that's not been colonized. It's not been inhabited by any of the people that want to convert it to Christianity. It's pure.
Right.
And the thought is, oh, it's a city of gold. Even the towels on under your feet will be golden, and the food will be rich, and there will be nectar everywhere. So when I saw that trailer, I was like, that is such a cool idea. Like, but more so in the sense of the mind. I was thinking, okay, a lot of us are looking for places to go when we explore drugs and hallucinogens and psychedelics. So one time I did acid, and I was like, man, like I'm super lost right now. Like I'm not even here. Like there was somebody talking to me in my face, talking to me, and I was like, bro, I'm not even here right now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But it was a great feeling because I was able to kind of get lost in my positive like emotions, and um it helped me kind of just like move through different issues I had. And I don't know if you ever done psychedelics, but
I'm
it'll
not.
it'll put you it'll put you in a state of nirvana for a little bit. It'll give you some euphoria. And that's what that whole song was about, and that's why the chorus is as simple as it is, because it's just straight up like, let's get lost. And then now the city of Z is just straight up your mind.
Mm.
That's what it symbolizes.
No. Yeah. I mean, there's a great vibe to it, and I was like, I love the hook too. And so I was like, oh, I wonder what this is about. So
Yeah.
uh, there you go.
Yeah.
I gotta check out the film now.
Yeah, and that's why you like in the song you kind of get those references to Alice in Wonderland, like just stuff like that. Because honestly, people like I've seen so many people watch Alice in Wonderland while they do shrooms and stuff. So it's stuff.
I assume you're talking about the Tim Burton version, right? That has all the colors and the eclectic
Yes,
visual
yes,
interpretation.
yes, sir.
I one of these days I will have to lock myself into a room and just explore. Uh, it's another thing that so you self-released this project. You did about several projects with Closed Sessions. You mentioned your relationship with Alex DJ RTC. Why did you decide to put this one out on your own?
I think we put this one on our own because I think we had got to a point where we were looking to move forward. That like Closed Sessions as a label was in a different place at the time. They were evolving, taking on new artists, and we felt like it would probably be best for us to just part ways, since they didn't feel like they could do anything more for me. So we were like, all right, well, that's fine. Like we had a good relationship, we made some money, so let's move forward. And this is my first time being independent, like completely independent, since 2015.
Mm.
Um, damn, that's a long time. 2016, I'm sorry. Um, and so I relished in this opportunity. I really was looking forward to this being it. So Kenya was supposed to be an album, by the way, but because of the sudden ending of our relationship with the label, we decided that like we should put out something this year. Because if it was an album, it would have came out next year, and I just don't like going months and months without dropping music.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Um, do you feel like as an independent artist now, like there's a lot more work to be done, because usually with a label or an entity, they're kind of like doing the marketing, they're doing like a lot of that stuff that you as an artist don't really have to worry about too much, so you're taking ownership of it. Did you kind of expect that it was going to be a larger push to get this project some steam?
Yeah, because of how much music and the social media has evolved the past couple years, you have to try really hard as an independent artist. You have to do a lot just to be able to get traction. You have to put money into ads. You have to use TikTok, which is something that I've been seriously lacking on. Yeah, I consider myself like, I feel like I was made for the 1990s, like that type of rap. Like I'm gonna put some dope music out, and I just want y'all to listen. But it just doesn't work that way anymore. So
Yeah.
You kind of just have to adapt with the times. You have to ad money is especially important because overnight you can see your posts and your streams go up triple fold just by putting together a really good ad that reaches a certain demographic that you would like. Um, Also collabing with other artists. These are things that really can help introduce you to just new people. And I've noticed that the most success from this project has come from that ads and putting music out with other artists.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just casually looking at TikTok today. I haven't done anything with it. I'm just kind of like looking around, and my son, who knows all the in and outs of it, is like, "No, this is what you do." And so I got to pick a day to just let him him be the master, and I'll just be the prodigy and learn because
Yeah, I need one too. I swear.
I'll have him do a tutorial for both of us.
Please,
TikTok
please.
TikTok for over 30 and somethings. Um, yeah, so I'm happy to hear that you're taking on your own project and career. We have a couple of minutes left with you, Ajani, but I want to ask like your relationship with Boathouse. You guys did the One Punch EP about a year and a half ago, and that was fantastic. And he's featured on here as well. Well, what is it about your guys' relationship that just makes that dynamic so good?
Man, that's my boy. He is so talented, and that's just something that just it's an understatement, really, because for me, I like to work with producers that I don't have to tell you what to do. You just do your thing. I'll do my thing. We can come together and create like at the funnel end. I want you to bring what you bring to the table, and I'm gonna bring what I bring, and we can work from there. Um, and that's what our relationship has been for the last 3 years. Like, I will sit there in silence, and he will create a beat in 30 minutes. By the time he's done with that beat, I wrote the song already.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yo, what do you think of this? And I'll hit him with the hook, and he'll kind of give me some advice and just do, he'll produce and help me from there. But our chemistry got so good that we're able to make a song in about an hour, 2 hours.
Mm.
Um, and so we've made hundreds of records. And we just make sure that we consistently stay in the studio. And we just have conversations about life. A lot of the songs on this project just came from me and him just sitting down and talking, and they inspire me.
Yeah. Now, I sat down with them right before the Rona when Closed Sessions put out the compilation album they did at the top of the year. So I have a unreleased interview that I still need to put out there.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah, it's really good. We talk a lot about you and then his process of developing records, and it's exactly like how you describe it. Just like slate another beat. Like
Yeah.
I'm just keep going, keep going. And so I love talking to him. Shout out to him. He just put out that great record with Bun B about a few weeks ago. That was really good.
Sir, yes, sir.
So, all right, but Johnny, man, thank you so much. This is a long time coming, man. I tried to link up with you about a year or so ago for the morning Sunday show, which is almost impossible to get anyone to come. So I'm not even mad that we didn't do it. So I'm glad this time around we were able to link up and talk about it. Kenya, the EP, it's on all digital streaming platforms. Please go check it out. Support one of Chicago's best voices, and I hope you're doing well during all this. There's a lot more we need to talk about, but we'll get to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, you got my number, man. We'll talk.
Fantastic, man. Enjoy the rest of your election night. Did you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
That's good enough for me, man.
Yeah,
all right,
I did.
enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. That's Ajani Jones joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's.